We will be starting in a minute. Delhi had immense rains. Neha ma'am, what I heard?
I think it's only on televisions.
I got your answer. This is your uniqueness is kam bol ke zyada bol jana, right?
Shijit, over to you. Meeting has started.
Okay. So namaste, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished educators and esteemed school heads. Welcome to the third edition of our EdTalk series, STEM to STEAM via Arts Integration, hosted by Jobs in Education and Agore. As the great Leonardo da Vinci once said, study the science of art, study the art of science, develop your senses, especially learn how to see, realize that everything connects to everything else. Today, we have the privilege of welcoming two distinguished speakers and my great friends who are at the forefront of educational innovation and arts integration. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Dr. Neha Sharma and Mrs. Nisha Paryani, who are veterans for this field in the field of education. As educational leaders, we understand the importance of staying at this forefront of innovative pedagogies and transformative approaches in the world of NEP and other changes which are coming to picture. Today's webinar promises to be an enlightening exploration of integration between the realms of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and of course, the rich and experienced world of arts and design. So welcoming all of you once again, and let me take this opportunity to introduce two of our great speakers for today. So beginning with Dr. Neha Sharma, she is a highly accomplished educationist with a PhD in education, along with several other courses like PDC from MII Singapore and a lot more. Currently, she serves as the principal of GD Goenka Public School in Ghaziabad. Her remarkable career includes serving as the principal of DPS Gwalior and holding key positions in the government sector, such as Deputy Secretary and Head of CBSE, Center for Excellence in Delhi and Panchkula, and also Deputy Director, Exams and Reforms of CBSE. Her notable recognitions include being a member of the Project Advisory Committee for CBSE UNESCO's International Project on Holocaust Education and a speaker at the 14th UN Congress on Crime Prevention and Criminal Justice in Kyoto, Japan. Dr. Sharma's expertise extends to writing, as she has authored several handbooks, manuals, and research papers on topics like digital citizenship, life skills, gender sensitivity, and more. Her contributions have earned commendation letters from the director of CBSE. With her multifaceted background and commitment to education, she remains a distinguished figure, making a significant impact in the field, and personally whose work I always admire. So welcome, ma'am, to our third EdTalk series. Next is a proud batchmate of IIM Ahmedabad of mine, Mrs. Nisha Paryani. She is currently serving as the principal of PP Savni Cambridge International School, Surat. She is the author of the book, Let's Live Again, a certified career counselor from University of California, Los Angeles. She is a dynamic and innovative educationist and mentor to thousands of students who seek the path of wisdom in the realm path of success. She has a track record in consistently contributing to academic and pastoral care of students and to enhancement of their learning. She herself conducts various trainings a session for staff, parents, and students, and one of the youngest and the jolliest heads what I have ever met and seen. So welcome, Nisha, to our third EdTalk series. So as the topic goes, STEM to STEAM via arts integration, I would be asking for opening remarks from both the speakers, as we have participants from pan-India and even abroad as well. So beginning with Dr. Neha Sharma, I just seek for your opening remarks on the topic, and then we'll come to Nisha. Over to you, ma'am.
Okay, so thank you, Ashit. You were really, really gracious with your words. And I'm sure I'll be able to share whatever I have learned in this journey, in this process, with all those who are listening us. And definitely, I'm sure I'll get enriched more while we are interacting with each other. Now, when we talk about us humans, I think we have few basic needs, like we all know air, food, water, clothing, shelter, belongingness, and Wi-Fi. I mean, Wi-Fi, of course, I mean, not so seriously, but yes. But nevertheless, these are our primary needs. And what might surprise you is that we have one more very primary need, which is about being creative. So, even if you go to today, if our civilization, if human civilization is here in 21st century with so many inventions, so many discoveries, so many things that countless things that we can say that, right from the invention of the first wheel till date, it's all creativity, right? Had it not been about creativity, I don't think we still would have been living in caves, and something like this, a Zoom connect or something like this would have never ever happened.
True.
So, when we talk about creativity, somehow we have forgotten, or we have stopped giving creativity the due that it deserves, or the center stage that it deserves. And we have started thinking that fine, being creativity or thinking out of the box is something not everybody can do. But when we talk about today's century, 21st century, I think it's again coming up as a very, very essential, because we are the generation who was taught to be given, to be able to give examinations, who we were taught just through rote learning methods. And I think if you have that creativity in you, you are able to do something. If not, fair enough. And then arts and science, they've always been kept in different silos, different compartments, to the extent that those who are studying humanities, those who are doing something related to arts, but they were looked down upon. I mean, they were like not the ones who were aspiring to be engineers, doctors. They were supposed to be the intellectuals one, intelligent one, and rest were mere mortals who were not giving any contribution on this earth, on this planet Earth. So thankfully enough, esteem is the word that has added that much desired A in STEM. So STEM was given all priority in the previous decade, I can say, century, I can say that. But now, as we are again trying to understand that, anything which you really want to have an impact must have that creativity, must have that art in it. And even, the best of the scientists. So there's one thing which I usually use in my workshops about Albert Einstein. He loved playing violin, and he always said that, whenever I really am not able to think, I just go to music. So, and we all know him as somebody who has given us E is equal to MC square. Then Edison. I mean, if Edison is not creative, then who is? Somebody who understands that basic of creativity, that how many times you may fail, but every time you are learning how you could have done things differently. So somehow I feel that we have to understand that definitely science, mathematics, technology, and engineering are important, but so is arts. So is bringing in the creativity in the whole system. So these are my 2 cents for the
Yeah,
opening.
that is so true. When Ms. Sharma, you were mentioning about Edison, I remembered bulb, which is the brainchild of Thomas Edison. And I remember I was just reading an article that when press questioned, as usual, grilled Edison after the discovery of bulb, and press said that, how do you feel by failing 2000 times? And then Mr. Edison said that, who told that I have failed? I have created 1999 steps, and in the 2000th step, I had created a bulb. So that's what our approach is. So over to you, Ms. Puryani, for your opening remarks on the topic.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much, Harshit, for your warm welcome. As rightly said, my friend Dr. Neha has thrown some light insights onto the topic STEM into STEAM. Now, there's a very famous quote which says that if you're really interested in science, coding, or technology, you must understand the beauty of poetry, language, and literature too. So, as my friend has said that including arts into STEM is something where we need to think out of the box. We have to be creative. Initially, in the long since ages back, it was only the doctors and the engineers which were kept at the high ladder. But then in today's era, in 21st century, I think that is not the case. We have seen many such examples where the chefs, the radio jockeys, there are so many number of occupations that have come up which were not there in last 20, 30 years. So that is something which is integration of arts. And moreover, as we are seeing in this new era, there is more of the technological advancement that is required. But not to forget, we also have to have a human touch. A sense of belonging is also required. So if we talk about STEM versus STEAM, if we demarcate these two things, so it's basically a battle of mind versus matter. So what we have in concrete and what we have internally. So knowledge and wisdom is something different. So if I say that the earth takes 365 days to revolve around the sun, that is my knowledge. But if I pose a question to a student, how many rounds, Harshit, you have taken around the sun? So students are like fumbled as to what I haven't taken any round, but then the wisdom lies into it. Wherein yes, since I am on the earth, so if based on my age, I have taken that much of rounds around the earth. So it's basically more of the creative part that we need to instill in the students while teaching a subject of science or technology or medicine, which is the need of the hour. So again, STEM is more of the hard skills that has been incorporated. And when we talk about the arts, since it is talking about the creativity, so the soft skills that are required. And if we integrate arts into STEM, so basically it evokes both our left brain and right brain. So if the person who is very much technical and analytical, that is the left brain which is active. But if it is included and it has been amalgamation of arts into STEM, the right brain also gets active, and there are certain hormones which gets released. So when we are interested in something, like my friend had said that if somebody is not interested into work, when I get bored out of my work, so what I do is I start dancing, I start listening to music, which actually activates my right brain. So that creates certain hormones in our body, which makes us to pursue of what we want. So I think creating more, adding some more pinch of creativity into what we are doing is something where we can get more things out of the students. So yes, of course, we have to do out of the box of what the road process we are doing it. Long back when we had done our graduation, when we had our studies, it was just the textbook knowledge. We never got an idea or any opportunity to go out and learn practically, which is now there's not the case. So we have multiple field trips, we have visits, we take students outside the classroom. Sometimes we have classes outside the walls of the classroom to let them explore the nature and learn. So I think that is the best way of integrating arts into the STEM.
True. I can very well connect with you, Ms. Biryani. As the topic says, STEM to STEAM via arts integration. I happen to be at IIM Vishakhapatnam in the month of Jan to attend the World Symposium of Accounting Finance. And there, Professor Dolly, I remember, is the chairperson of accounts. How through arts and painting, he has taken classes on cost accounting and financial accounting, because for commerce students, being a student of commerce myself, cost sheet and the balance sheet format is very difficult to memorize at classes 11 and 12. So I remember how through a comical way, because he said, mainly are engineers who enters IIMs for their PGDMs and the MBA, and it's so difficult to teach them accounts with no touch with accounts in the entire school life. And how through that painting and comics, I remember it was a gem of a class altogether. What a comical method he taught to teach accounting and finance. And that's what arts integration is all about. And in today's world, when NEP is coming up, we speak of multidisciplinary, mixing physics with music, mixing psychology with finance. So that's why behavioral finance has come to picture. So it's all multidisciplinary and the thing away. So I just request all participants, they can push in the question in the chat bot, and one by one, we're going to take it up. So here we have question 1 for Dr. Sharma. And so the question goes, and I reframe it, how do you justify the why behind the STEAM integration? Or if I may just rejumble it up, how do you put why integration towards STEM for the 21st century learners? How do you justify that WHY, that why is that A so important to be integrated in the STEM to become STEAM to make our children ready for the 21st century skills? Over to you, ma'am.
Okay, am I allowed to share my screen and show an image?
Yeah, sure, ma'am. Most welcome, please.
Just it is disabled, so I need
Yes,
permission.
Debmala, could you please help ma'am to enable the screen share?
In the meantime, I don't know if you have heard of Old Navy brand. It's a brand of
Yes.
clothing,
Yes.
right? So this is about, I'm just still waiting for the screen sharing.
Yeah, ma'am. Wait.
Okay, let me check. Oh, it's still not happening.
Just wait.
That's why you're integrating history with the modern era.
Yes. So now this is what we are trying to bring in some art. We are trying to bring in some image and see how technology is not supporting us. So it's even more important that we had, something like a whiteboard or something where we could draw and explain things. But
Correct.
nevertheless, I think I'll not rely. Oh, I can do it now. Yeah.
This shows that human interference is very, very important, and tech should be used as a tool.
Yes, yes. So is my screen visible? Can
Yes,
we
ma'am, very much.
there? Now it so happened in 2015, Old Navy brand thought of introducing these t-shirts wherein they have struck off artist and have put astronaut or president as so, and you can imagine what would have happened. They were actually in 2015 trolled by artists, trolled by people, and the entire world got after them, telling them that, I mean, what is the contribution that artists have? What is the contribution that those who are pursuing the creative arts are having in the society? So now when we talk about STEAM and STEM, I hope none of us would have agreed to this t-shirt. If there's anyone who agrees to this t-shirt, I think then we'll have to have a longer discussion with that person. But is there anyone at least in the panel who agrees to this t-shirt that we have to wipe off, we have to strike off artists and replace it with being an astronaut, being a president, or whatever? Do we agree to this? Well, I don't think any of us does. Because somehow, somewhere we understand that as it is important. See, we understand that science basically drives economy, right? And the inventions that are happening, the changes that are coming in, somehow they very, very strongly bring in the change or, act as the catalyst for the progress of any nation and for that matter, the entire world. Now, here we can say that mathematics is the core. See, science without mathematics cannot exist. Technology without mathematics definitely holds no value. Engineering also holds no value without mathematics. Now, when we talk about mathematics, and here we are trying to understand why A, right? So when we talk about mathematics, we can say that maths is basically the string that holds all of these together. And how it does? We do say, for example, anything that we are trying to understand, be it an observation, be it. So just now, as you were asking about Delhi floods, right? So there's a lot of data analysis happening, that why it happened, what was the reason. So maths comes in here. Then, of course, once it'll all be done, there'll be a lot of presentation about how, why, and what all things. So these are basically mathematical skills. Then we take measuring, we take angles. So when we talk about students, they interpret whatever scientific things that they are doing through data visualization, through their observation, through putting in together all the data and interpreting it. So if we talk about real life maths problems, there are certain skills that we expect a child to be able to learn when they are doing any of the STEM things, right? So they can be various scientific skills, skill of observation, it can be skill of troubleshooting, it can be skill of applying, creating mathematics in different real life problems, and so on and so forth. So when we understand the idea, the skills that we are able to kind of learn through mathematics and through sciences, somehow we have to also understand this is cannot be, again, as I said, silos. Even when we talk about STEM, so we, of course, it's not always possible to have a project which is having all science, mathematics, technology. There'll be some component or the other available and some might be missing, but at least two of them are to be integrated together. Now, when we talk about putting it all together, somehow we also have to understand that we have to assess them together. And when we are assessing these, so you cannot do it on the basis of concepts. So here the teachers have to understand the basic skills that the child will be learning through the ideas of science and mathematics.
True.
Now, somehow we have to also understand that it is having strong connection these days with robotics and coding classes. So when we talk about coding classes and robotics, somehow it is again about inquiry, it's again about observation, it's again about problem solving. Now, problem solving, inquiry, observation, all these things, all these skills, if we have creativity added to it, then they will be, problem solving gets much more easier if creativity is there. So creative solutions are able to give you better responses, better answers to the problems that are being solved. Then after creativity, you also have to express. Now, I have understood something, right? But I don't have those skills to communicate. I don't have those skills to tell the world as to what I have understood. So for that comes our, again, art-based skill, which is our communication skills, which is like, even for that matter, when we are writing papers, right, the technical papers. So if I have observed certain things, if I am writing certain things which are about to tell about whatever I have discovered, whatever I have observed, until and unless I write it in a language which other people can understand, do you think I'll be able to communicate my science and technology and mathematics knowledge to the world? No, I won't be able to do that. So we have to understand that these skills of creative thinking, these skills of language arts, these skills of, thinking out of the box, these skills of developing something with the help of, say, designing something. Like design is all about creativity. Innovations happen only because somebody is thinking differently, creatively, and is trying to design something better.
True.
So all these things happen, all these skills, we cannot put them all differently. So in today's generation, in today's century, when we are dealing with children who are not sure as to if today they are studying certain concepts, certain things, tomorrow how valid they will be, whether they'll be able to get a job based on whatever they are learning today. It's not possible for us to say this in this VUCA world. So having something which helps them think out of the box, which adds that sprinkle, that peppers up with that creativity in whatever problem solving thing they are doing, whatever they are trying to put together in science or mathematics, wherever. So until and unless the child comes together, then communication. which is very important aspect. Until unless all of it comes together, the child of 21st century for sure may have come this far, but for sure it is not going to be possible for him or her to be successful in this challenging world. So it is very important that we provide children an opportunity to integrate art, because when we are doing art, again, one very good thing about arts integration is that it creates that, as Nisha ji was just now saying, that whenever she feels like, she wants to lighten up, she listens to music, she dances. So, and if you do that, take my word, I'm sure she'll agree to this, we are able to actually think better and respond better to the challenges that we are having. So we can teach any subject also, for that matter, through integrating all these together.
Correct.
So the idea is only this, I'll sum it up, that when we are bringing it all together and we are not compartmentalizing it, the why that gets answered is that, it's a unique world and we need different and unique solutions to the problems of today's world, which are not even written in black and white for that matter today. So for that, we have to see that we get the best out of every subject, every discipline, and we focus on skills that each of these subjects are teaching us, so that the child gets the best to be successful in life.
Yes, I agree, Dr. Sharma, with your points. As salt is an important ingredient for any dish, so is this becoming as an arts or a creativity that maybe its presence is not felt, but its absence is felt very harshly. So to incorporate and inculcate that, it's going to take time, as beginnings are always tough. But I believe as all the heads and with the efforts put in by all the things coming up by integration, there are a lot of companies coming to support the head segment nowadays. So I'm very much sure that it's going to be a part and parcel. That I remember the quote that desire and curiosity are the eyes with which we see the world. Though people are they're having desire to do X, Y, Z, somewhere or the other, the curiosity is lacking. But now as the curiosity is coming up, the inquisitiveness within the children is coming up with arts. So is very well, this team is going to play a bigger picture. So next, Ms. Priyani, we have a question from you from one of the speakers. As you're heading a Cambridge school, so the participants would like to know how Cambridge is different from other boards in implementing STEM. Is it still implementing STEM, or is Cambridge ahead in implementing STEM and in implementing STEAM now? So how you distinguish it from the national boards and from the Cambridge curriculum? Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Harshit, for the question. Again, our Indian education system has been in practice since long back. So when we were studying in our school time, we were having specifically state boards. So I am from Rajasthan, so we have done through Rajasthan board. Then, since I'm in the education field, so I have the glimpse of the curriculum of state boards, then CBSE, ICSE, the Cambridge itself, and again we have the international baccalaureate as well. So nowadays, looking at this era, see, initially a teacher was considered as a sage on the stage. But now looking at the advancement of the students as well, it is a teacher, it's a guide by the side. So we are not in the main frame now. It is the students who sometimes know better than the teachers, because they are more techno savvy and they are more prone to the technology. So talking about the Cambridge curriculum, it is again more of the analytical skills, problem solving skills, creativity that needs to be imparted. So what NEP 2020 had come up with the idea of putting up more of the practical skills in the content or in the teaching methodology, Cambridge is something which is having since its inception, right from the early years till the A levels, that is 12th, that is goes on. So here when we teach the students, whether it is a primary level or a middle level or a secondary level, it is not just the bookish language. So if it's the content of any state board or a national board comparative with the international board, there is no fixed performer of content of teaching them, and there is no fixed questions that needs to be asked. So basically, if I talk about a general board, which is either a state board or a national board, so they generally, it happens that we have a particular content we have to teach. There is a chapter, there is a story that we need to discuss, and there are questions that from the story that they have to answer. In Cambridge, it is they have to create their own. So if I am teaching a content of, say, suppose for mathematics, if I have taught about the angles, or if I'm talking about the trigonometry of Pythagoras theorem, so they will not ask, Cambridge provides the formulas to you as well. So as the board doesn't identify the implementation, but the identification of the child, that the child has understood the problem as to what the questions are and which formula we actually need to implement into this. So right now we have, of course, machines, we have calculators. So of course, if I want to calculate a huge number, I have machine to do that. Why would I put so much of pressure into my brains? But which formula, which context I have to use in this particular thing, that is where the analytical thinking is required by the students. Right. So in Cambridge, again, if I talk about primary, we have some listening activities wherein the content is being taught by listening. So again, the listening skills has also been developed. Then the students have to create their own story. They have to present a topic that is a part of the assessment. If I talk about the secondary section, so nowadays, again, since technology is there, so we have a subject called ICT, wherein there is a particular topic where the students have to create their own animated version of the any creative thing that they think of. So again, these all examples give us the idea of where the human brain is actually involved in creating something new, and not just the bookish knowledge that they have to read, understand, rote learn, and then mug up and then vomit on the exam day. That is not the case. So again, Cambridge moved for, I'm not demeaning the part of what CBSE or other boards are doing, but yes, it is a step ahead, which now NEP has come up of involving of the critical skills or analytical skills or problem solving skills. Thank you.
Yes, I firmly believe that I know some of couple of the schools in, maybe in Gujarat and in Delhi, though they are following the national curriculums, but I believe it's up to the head what creativity and what uniqueness you bring it on board to your institution. Board is just a guideline issuing authority maybe for the board examination, but as heads, we believe that we are not just heading 1,000 to 2,000 school children, we are heading 1,000 to 2,000 brains. And as a researcher, I always believe that school is the best sample for sampling population, wherein you get age of 2+ to age 60+, where else you will get such diversified age group and a population. And yes, so it's very much relatable that, it's like, as you mentioned, identification to implementation, rather than going implementation and then identifying what the lacune is about. So yes, and as Indian, we are always open to get the new and the good vibes to learn. And I'm sure that the national boards and all of us are heading and marching towards it. So next question for you, Neha ma'am, that can you please share some real examples or any projects or any initiatives what you have taken, or what do you believe that exactly, give some hints or pinches to our audience? How do you integrate STEAM into your curriculum? Any real examples, what you have done at your school or with your experience?
Right. So, one thing which is very close to my heart is dance and mathematics, science and mathematics, music and mathematics. So these are the things that children try and explore, and they definitely are able to do good work out of it. Say, for example, if you're trying to teach angles, what better way to teach it through a Bharatanatyam dance, which is all having lots of formations wherein angles by all means are going to be presented by the dancer. Or if you're talking about music, if you have to teach fractions, so those frets of music and fractions, they combine so well, and we all agree to the idea and the fact that music is very, very mathematical. One note here and there and your harmony gets disturbed altogether. You will not be able to get any melody out of the instrument that you are playing, or for that matter, as we say that sur mein gao. So sur mein gao, if I talk about sargam, right? It's very mathematical. So sa re ga ma, if I may be allowed to sing a bit, right? You'll understand how notes go.
Ma'am,
We
will be fortunate
right?
to hear you sing.
Okay. Sa re, ga, ma, da, di, sa, ri, pa, ma, ga, re, sa. So of course, apologies for my bad throat, but as you can well see, it was getting added from sa to re to ga. There was one note getting added to the next. And then when you reach to ni, then again it comes back. This is aro and avro. So it keeps, subtracting one note. So now if you're talking about ascending and descending, I think this is one beautiful example that children can learn ascending and descending, through music. Then fractions, as I said, that, the frets. So the notes of music, the Western music, if you talk about, they can teach very interestingly the concept of fraction. And there are many more examples. These are some that that are just coming to my mind often. One very, very intelligent way to teach mathematics or to science is origami. I all together vouch for origami. And origami, say, for example, I'll give you just one simple example. We all know, we all know that nowadays we have cars which are high on safety features. And have you ever imagined how that big safety bag that comes out of that small box that is there is fitted in? It's all origami. The scientists, the people who are working on this, they have folded it in a way that it takes least space, but at the same time, when it opens up in its full blown, capacity, the way it should be there. Right? So origami, again, is very interesting if you want to teach them angles, if you want to teach them lines, if you want to teach them various mathematical concepts. At the same time, when we also try to teach children about different animals, different birds, you cannot bring every bird to the class, but you can create a crane out of origami. Yes. You cannot bring in every structure in the class, but you can even create Qutub Minar from origami. So origami, I feel, holds lots and lots of value here. One, because I'm a language teacher, I cannot leave this whole conversation without talking about language arts and STEAM integration. So metaphors. Yes. I can say that we can 100% vouch that all the inventions are because of metaphors. So for example, very simple example of apple falling on Newton's head. If it is not metaphorical, then what is it? Right? So that apple gave him an idea that every object is pulled towards the earth. Right? So now this was the idea that somehow, helped him create linkages with the idea of gravity, with the idea of pulling it. So, for example, Kepler, if we remember, Kepler was working on the motion of planets, or Bohr visualized, the structure of atom as a mini solar system. So these are all visualizations. These were all, they were not existing. I mean, of course, atom is not a solar system, but then he visualized it that way. So somehow, if we talk about, again, one more example, DNAs, right? So spirals, we kind of, relate DNAs with the spiral staircases, right? So somehow, when we talk about designs, when we talk about, if we have to make people understand what science is all about, we have to give them examples. We have to tell them something like that. So here, it's only when you think creatively, if only when you think, create linkage between different subjects, then only you'll be able to present your idea better. So yes, and there are many more examples, but yes, due to paucity of time, maybe some other time.
Yeah, sure. It was, I will remember this metaphor and this origami and even, Bharatnatyam, and I've just noted it down so that I will use it up as in my lecture as well. That's a unique way. I remember when this initiative of Bala came to picture, building as a learning aid, right? And that time I've seen many school, heads and the promoters painting their school stairs with maths, all the mathematical symbols and incorporating Bala. And I think that, why music labs, maths lab, these are not just labs to be shown on papers or shown towards institution to get affiliation, but depending on the head, if really we can implement these ideas even one at a time, that would really, really integrate creativity, because teacher is someone who make the child love the subject. That's what a teacher is all about, to give in that, that curiosity, to give in that love towards the subject. And I can really see Ms. Sharma's ideas, unique ideas to integrate all the dancing skills even to education. That's what the need of the hour is. So thank you, ma'am. And we would surely listen much, much more examples from your side. Next, Ms. Biryani, we have a question to you that what practices are followed in primary or secondary level at your institution or through your wisdom to integrate arts into STEM, which makes it to STEAM. Over to you, ma'am.
Correct. I will really enjoyed the examples given by Dr. Neha about how this dance has been inculcated, and that is the same thing which actually we have also done in primary level. When in mathematics, students were studying about the types of angles. We have acute angle, obtuse angle, reflex angle. So it's the dance movement that they used to do. So it's the right angle. So we have a song based on that, wherein the teacher sings the song and then they move like this: right angle, acute angle, obtuse angle, and there's a complete angle. So again, there is a movement of the body. And see, when we add a pinch of entertainment in the teaching, students are more creative or more interested to come to the next day to the school as to what next or what new my teacher will be teaching in a different way. So that creates curiosity when we integrate such aspects into the teaching. Now, talking about my school as to how we are integrating, there are a few examples that I would like to quote on. We had every school will have the assemblies where one of the classes will come and present on different topics. So in this academic year, few of my grade 9th students have presented an assembly on the topic superstition. Now, mostly we know that we are in a background of Indian community where the parents kuch bhi hota hai, we always go to the Baba or something, mere bete ko kuch ho gaya hai, or something has been, some black magic has been done, and then they put some, they move around their hands and then they show you this lemon has turned red. So there is something which is going on with your child. That is what we always, people used to go there. So to break down that mindset, what my students have done, they have created a skit out of it, wherein one student has become a Baba, one student has become a mother or father, then few students are coming, and the mother is crying in front of Baba, and mere bachche ko nazar lag gayi, you do something. Right, so the Baba again, that more punk would come, he moves that around the head and then say something, you need to do this, you need to purchase this thing, or you need to give some prasad to some other. This is what we generally see. And nowadays on television also, we have so many, sages, so-called sages, there is always mentioned this thing. So at the end of the skit, one of the student has actually explained that when you put some acid into that or some indicator onto the lemon, it turns red. So it is not the superstition, or it is not something that black magic hasn't happened. The Baba, just to create his own identity, has put some liquids. There are some chemical reactions going on with the lemon, and then the lemon turns red, or there is some liquid which turns blue. So there are certain, so with this, the science has come in front of all the students, that it is the chemicals, the material properties of that particular thing, because of which this change happens, either physical or chemical. So it is not some black magic that we need to be superstition about a particular thing. So with this, it created an interest in these smaller students also in primary. Okay, but what my parents must be doing or what we have witnessed in movies or something is not true. This is the reality. The science is reality, but with the element of fun and knowledge, of course, with which. This is one such example which I was quoting. Another thing is this year also we had started, as again NEP has come up with the no bag day, wherein the students are free to come to the school without bags and to learn something more creative. So we also had such thing in our school, wherein the students have given the opportunity to work on the different skills, vocations, where they will learn about it. So if we talk about, like ma'am has said, origami. So we had origami where again, the different shapes, they'll create an object. So if I want to create a bird, I'll use the triangle shape for the bird. I will take the oval shape for the body. I'll take the rectangular shape for the legs of the bird. I'll take the, again, small triangle. So again, with shapes, with mathematics and this folding paper, I'm introducing origami to the students. So they will learn the shapes also, and again, the angles as well. Then we had pottery, where the fine motor skills of pre-primary students will be developed. So again, learning by doing. So as it is said, when I listen, I forget, I see, I remember, and when I do, I learn. So again, we give more of the hands-on experience to the students. Like again, when we had started, one more example I would like to quote, when we had studied about the types of plant or the leaves, we have different formation of the leaves, right? So we used to see it only in the textbook, that this is what the venation of the leaves is. But to explain them in a better way, in a practical way, we took the students out. So luckily, we had a very huge campus over here, and with very green, serene place we have in our school. So we took the students out of grade 5 and shown them the different types of leaves, different shapes of leaf, different venation. And then we asked them to stick in the notebook so that they can identify and trace. And with the leaves, again, we did this art activity wherein they will dip each leaf in different colors and then create a portrait. On the Guru Purnima, we did this. So a guru image has been made by creating those different leaves, shapes, and venations, and they did this art activity. So again, it's again learning by, it's a fun doing learning activity wherein the concept is also being taught about the leaves, about the venation. And of course, there's an amalgamation of art also into it. So there are many such activities that we did. I just quoted a few of them. I think we have a time constraint, so I will not go in detail. But there are many which we are doing to make study more interesting.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Nisha, for it. I would like to tell the audience one interesting thing for a homework. A good teacher is always someone who gives homework and a thinking note. So I was taking workshop, 3 years back in a Northeast good school. And that time I trained the teachers on a concept known as 6 thinking hats. It was a concept which was introduced by Edward de Bono, and all the teachers and all the heads which are viewing this webinar at the moment, the teacher can research more on this concept of 6 thinking hats, and this will be a gem of a way to integrate arts into our curriculum and go ahead with it. There's one teacher who's very inquisitive in asking a question that we had a lot of discussion. So why not can we learn from the experiences of the speakers? Okay, so if I put the question that as being veterans in education yourselves, Dr. Neha and Ms. Nisha, what have you seen in the past from your childhood days, maybe your B.Ed days, your master's or bachelor's days, that time, the past of education? What are you seeing at present with all the changes and the shuffling and the reshuffling happens? And as educators or as educational scientists, if I say, how do you predict this Indian education to go maybe in the coming 10 or 20 years? Because a child is entering your school at 2023, gonna graduate at 2035 or 2036. So you have to design the roadmap for the child for the 13 to 14 years ahead. So how have you seen? How are you seeing at this moment? And how do you visualize our system to go ahead? So we want to learn from your real life experience for over the decades. So over to you, Neha ma'am.
Okay, so I think I'll just do a comparison. In our times, it was teacher and the taught. I was just a student. I had no agency, no liberty to say anything, whatever. Even if my teacher is teaching me wrong, I dare not utter a word or challenge the authority of the teacher. And teachers, they had all immunity, all authority. Even our parents used to go and tell them, agar ye kuch kare, if they do anything, give them 2 tight slaps from our side as well. So they had that liberty, that power. Now comes today's generation where we are trying as teachers to be the facilitators. We want learners to discover, to explore whatever, because there's a lot that you cannot teach. But yes, you can always explore and learn better. So today, the teacher has become a facilitator. They support the child, they guide the child, but at the same time, they let the child learn. And for times to come, we'll have to become co-learners. We'll have to learn together, because the way things and technology, they are advancing. We very recently can take the example of COVID times, wherein lots of teachers have taken support from their students to understand how Zoom functions, right? So we have to become co-learners. There is so much happening that this generation is aware of, and we have to look towards them with pleading eyes and hands that please guide us as to how. So now are the times that we should start thinking of becoming co-learners. And this journey, I think, in itself is very powerful, that from teachers to taught to facilitator, we still had teacher had some power in hand, to co-learners, where this line of power is absolutely blurred. But yes, the best part is that there's so much more that you can do together. There's so much more that you can contribute together and make things better for times to come.
True, true. I firmly believe, the co-learning acting as a guide will literally take this future ahead. So Nisha ma'am, your remarks on it.
Yeah, I must say initially the teaching was more of the teacher centric, but as ma'am had said, and now it has become more of the student centric. In the times of Guru Dronacharya, the students were willing to dedicate themselves to the teachers as to whatever they say is the line on the stone. We need to follow that. But now it is quite a vice versa. We have zero tolerance policy in place, wherein we are not even about to shout at the child for their indecent remark that they have done. There was fear as well as respect in the initial days, but now it's just either they don't, it's part ways, both are there. Fear, though I don't see anyone now, the children are getting feared of the principals, of the teachers that is there. Maybe sometimes when the teacher enters in the class, the teacher will fear, okay, but I don't know what questions they will pose today. So then in that case, the teacher has to be well prepared and well planned. But then, yes, initially we were not having good mind of thought and open mind to think or explore of the new ideas that we might have. Initially, we were just restricted by our family members. Okay, this is what you have to do. This is a good school. This is a good course. This is a good job that you need to do. That is all what we followed in that times. Right. But now students are more of them explorative. They have this facility called internet. They have technology with them. And it's very handy for them to use it. Of course, most of them do use in a proper way also, but then they know what is right or what is wrong with them, right? They have the brains to identify as to what suits best their need. So initially it was the parents who used to guide the students as to this is what you have to do. And the students are like, okay, yes, fine, got it. Now the students will tell the parent that these are the options that I have, which I wanted to choose this one. Right. So since now this technology has come, we have more of the emotional quotient that we need to develop. As I always used to say, that human touch is required. No matter how much technology we have intervened into it, but it is the human touch. Machine, a technology, a smart classroom will never go to replace a teacher in a class. That is what it is there.
Correct. I firmly believe, technology, when it was invented, it was meant to make our life easier. But people are seeing, I've seen discussions happening, AI substituting teachers, machine substituting teachers, content delivery apps substituting teachers. Is it really so? Can a technology bring that human emotion? I don't think so. Any coder or developer in the world, be it from MIT or Stanford or Carnegie Mellon, can develop generating emotion. I don't know if I'm wrong. 5 years henceforth, something new can come up, an app, replacing a human mother, giving that emotion. Maybe that can happen. But what I feel, to all the educators as audience, technology should be used as a medium to be taught, not to make a tool in itself to substitute teachers. This is where we need to correct our ethos and philosophy. And I firmly believe that today's wonderful insights, maybe of origami or Bharatnatyam or the skit playing, we had gem of an examples given by both of our speakers. So again, thanking my great friends, Dr. Neha and Ms. Nisha, to take out time and to do it. Yes, ma'am. Yes, Neha, ma'am.
So in the chat, I've shared about a blog, which is like amazingartsintegration.blogspot.com. This is a blog that I maintain. And of course, it is all about arts integration. And it has got 250 plus ideas on arts integration, different subjects. And I think it's a repository of great ideas which are curated and put together, done by different schools across country. So if the audience wants to have more ideas on arts integration, it has got everything right from social sciences to sciences to maths to Hindi. So they can definitely go and explore. Maybe if you can share it with the audience, I
Sure,
think
sure.
it, and you also should, both of you should also definitely explore this blog.
Surely would do our homework in a diligent way. I said that a teacher is someone who without giving homework remains incomplete. So thank you, Neha ma'am, for making us be our student days, recalling that. And of course, it's a good blog. We would even pass it on through mail to all our attendees and participants for them to go through and to take the best of it to implement it at their own institution. So thank you all once again. And I believe this ED Talk series hosted by Jobs in Education and Abore, our main purpose to make it more productive and outcome based. So looking ahead, all of you to join for our 4th webinar in the coming month. We are planning something big that time. Hope to see you all at that time. And once again, thank you, Neha ma'am and Nisha ma'am, for taking out your time and making this webinar so enriching, content-based and enjoy-based. And thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Harshit.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.